So the next topic which we are going to start is enterprise structure. We have a different objects in applications. So like we have enterprise, we have divisions, we have legal entity. So we'll see what are those different objects. And if we want to configure them, what are the different ways by which we can actually create those objects in the system. First of all is enterprise. So enterprise is actually your topmost organization. So suppose that if I take an example of L&T. So L&T can work into different fields. There is L&T insurance, there is L&T infotech, there is L&T finance, there is L&T direct mutual funds, and a lot of things are there. So they work in a different sectors. They can be L&T steel, but the topmost organization will be L&T, Larsen and Toubro. For each company, there is a topmost organization, which we generally call as an enterprise. So I was actually talking about enterprise. So enterprise is actually the topmost level of any company or organization. So whenever you create an enterprise, you actually enter the details like the name of enterprise, the code of enterprise, the start date. Then you will enter what is the primary industry for that organization. So all those details you enter while creating an enterprise. Now, the second level, after you are done with the creation of enterprise, you actually create a division. So division can be something which can be either driven by country, or it can be driven by the different brands in which your organization work, or it can be driven by different businesses which an organization do. So suppose again I will take an example of L&T. So L&T works in a constructions, L&T works in a refinery, L&T works in a uh, IT services, L&T works in a mutual funds or insurance. So they can have a different divisions like L&T constructions, L&T finance, L&T infotech. So all those can be done. Or if a client want, you can also have a division depending upon country or depending upon anything which they are comfortable with. And uh, Oracle HCM divisions is mainly used for reporting purpose. Actual transaction starts from legal entity. So till enterprise and till divisions, they are mainly used for creations and they are mainly used for reporting purpose. The actual employee transaction starts from a legal entity level. Third thing comes into a picture is business unit. So business unit is actually the different businesses in which a company is working on. So a business unit will lie under a legal entity. So maybe if I take an example of L&T finance. So L&T finance may work in a mutual fund, L&T finance may work in an insurance, L&T finance may work on some other stock market or stock shares. So they will be different business units for L&T. Now coming to the fourth point is this legal entity. So legal entity is actually a unit of enterprise which is actually registered in a particular country so that it can actually do some trades there. So it is actually the registered unit of an enterprise. So it is like an entity identified and it has been given rights and responsibility under the country law or a commercial law to do or to hire an employee or to do a transactions which is related to a taxation purpose. So legal entity has a right to own property. Legal entity has a right to trade. Legal entity has a they generally comply with the different labor laws in a country or a state, and they are the authorities which are actually responsible for your taxation purpose and all those tax related activities. So whenever you create a legal entity in system, a legal entity can either be a legal employer or it can be a payroll statutory unit. So legal employee is something in which we actually hire an employee. Suppose that again, if I take an example of legal this L&T, so there can be a legal entity L&T Mumbai, which is actually registered under India and it is also registered under your Mumbai jurisdiction. So it actually follows the rules and regulations of India as well as the Mumbai. So in that case, L&T Mumbai will be a legal entity. All the employees which works for L&T Mumbai will be hired under L&T Mumbai. And after that, the L&T Mumbai can also be a payroll statutory unit. So it is actually responsible for all the taxation purpose and all those activities related to payroll for those set of employees. So any questions on these four objects: enterprise, divisions, business unit, and legal entity? So this is something when we actually do a transactions, I will come back to this point and I can explain you again. That will be more clear on that time. Okay. Now, as we have mentioned that a legal entity which you create can be a legal employer. Legal employer is an organization which actually employs or which gives a job to a different person. So it can be used for your employer from a HR point of view. And legal entity can also be a payroll statutory unit. Payroll statutory unit is something which is actually the highest level in an organization, which is mainly used for your taxation purpose. So you will register your company maybe under India and maybe under Mumbai laws. So this L&T Mumbai will can become your payroll statutory unit. And after that, suppose that if you want to create more legal entities in L&T Mumbai also, you have two legal entities like L&T Navi Mumbai, L&T Mumbai Office 1 or legal entity 1. So in that case, you can use a legal entity which is already a PSU to the other legal entity. It is not always required that a legal entity has to be a PSU. Some other legal entity which is a PSU can also be used to other legal entity. So just like you have a one PSU which is also a legal entity and a legal employer, you can have multiple legal entities attached to that single PSU. Now, the other factors or the other term which comes as a tax reporting unit. So, tax reporting unit is actually the organizations in your enterprise or the actually your way to group an employee together for the taxation purpose or some other purpose. Suppose that you have two offices. Now, your company is registered under India and under Mumbai, but you have an offices under Bangalore and Hyderabad also. So you can have a TRU Hyderabad, TRU Bangalore. So one legal entity can have multiple TRUs, that is a tax reporting unit. Tax reporting unit is mainly used to group an employee together for a taxation purpose. Now, there is a disability organizations. So disability organizations are the external organization which can access your disabilities within your company workforce. Then after that, we have reporting establishment. Again, reporting establishment is like you can actually, the legal entity which you create, you can also create them as a reporting establishment. So whenever you have to do some reporting other than taxation, you can use that legal reporting establishment organization. Now, after that, we have a department, which is pretty much clear. A company can have HR department, a company can have IT department. And after that, the final one is legislative data group. So legislative data group will always be created depending upon your countries. Because whenever we work in Oracle HCM, there are a lot of things which are which are country specific. For example, the payroll of US can be differ from the payroll of UAE. The benefits module of US can differ from a benefit module of UAE. The fast formula for all the EBs guys, which you write in US country, and the fast formula for the same benefit calculations or enrollments for a Dubai can be different. So in order to do a partitioning depending upon a country, or in order to partition your entire set of data depending upon country, we use LDG, that is legislative data group.